You can only know if your freedom is real when you've trained the ability to stay and then consciously choose to go. Otherwise, you're just reacting, not creating. There's a kind of freedom that's earned through presence, clarity, and calm. And there's a kind that's rehearsed through fear, disconnection, and needing distance. Most people don't know which one they're living. What most people call freedom is actually just escape. It feels like relief. It feels like clarity. It even feels like certainty for about 5 minutes. But if you haven't trained the ability to stay in emotional intensity, then that clarity isn't coming from alignment. It's coming from a nervous system trying to survive the moment. Someone I worked with used to move cities every 1 to 2 years. New job, new apartment, new social circle. They'd say they felt stagnant or just needed something different. But over time, it became clear. It wasn't the external environment that needed to change. It was the internal state they couldn't hold. That need to leave wasn't the problem. It was the pattern underneath it, one of nervous system overload, emotional disconnection, and a perceived lack of choice. There's nothing wrong with liking alone time. This isn't about introversion or solitude, but when I need space becomes the go-to move every time intensity rises in a relationship, you're not choosing space, you're defaulting to it. That's not freedom. That's a nervous system avoiding intensity it doesn't know how to meet. Another client came to me after ending 3 relationships in a row, each time saying the same thing. I just couldn't breathe. It felt like too much. I needed to get back to me. What they were really saying was, I don't yet know how to hold connection and self at the same time. That pattern didn't start with the relationship. It started with the emotional state they'd practiced for years: disconnection, separation, guardedness. Freedom didn't come from leaving. It started when they trained the ability to stay, to breathe through intensity instead of fleeing it. Freedom isn't an idea, it's a trained capacity. You can only choose freely when you've trained the ability to sit in the discomfort of multiple options without your nervous system choosing for you. That means not reacting out of urgency, not escaping emotional intensity, not needing space to survive the moment. A common pattern I see is with people who consider themselves highly independent. They pride themselves on needing no one, relying on no one, being totally self-sufficient. And yet they constantly feel lonely, misunderstood, or disconnected from purpose. Why? Because the independence wasn't trained as a state of strength. It was trained as a defense against vulnerability. Real freedom is the ability to feel deeply and choose clearly at the same time. It's not just about going wherever you want. It's about not being run by emotional avoidance. If this is landing, hit subscribe. I share grounded tools each week to help you train your inner world with structure and clarity. Here's a reframe I want to offer. Sometimes the most powerful move isn't walking away. It's staying for just long enough to see the pattern clearly. Then, if you leave, it's not because you had to, it's because you trained your nervous system to hold steady, feel what's there, and still choose. One client was in a work situation that felt stifling. They wanted to quit, not for a new job, not for a dream, just to get out. But we trained a different sequence. Sit, breathe, notice what emotion was actually driving the urgency. Turned out it wasn't the job. It was the emotion of powerlessness they had been rehearsing since childhood. Once they trained the emotional state of steady clarity, they still chose to leave, but this time with a plan, a vision, and a trained nervous system that wasn't running away. Let's name something directly. Many people think they're calm when they're actually numb. They think they're grounded when they've just gotten really good at suppressing intensity. That false calm is dangerous because it feels clear, but what it's actually doing is keeping you stuck in a pattern of non-engagement. Avoidance doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like saying nothing, doing nothing, staying neutral. But neutrality is only a choice when it comes from trained presence. Otherwise, it's just freeze. A pattern I see often is people saying, I'm not reactive, I just don't engage with drama. And yet they avoid every hard conversation. They ghost instead of clarify. They disappear instead of deciding. That's not calm. That's fear in a well-managed disguise. If you're hearing this and thinking, this sounds like me, you're not broken. You've just been training a pattern that no longer serves. And that can change, not by processing, not by insight, by training. Now let me bring this all together. You don't create real freedom by talking about it. You create it by training your nervous system to stay steady through intensity. That way, when you leave a relationship, when you change a job, when you ask for space, it's not reaction, it's not collapse, it's not escape. It's a calm, conscious choice from a trained inner state. This is what real freedom looks like. I can hold intensity. I can choose alignment over relief. I can go, but I don't need to. If you can't stay, you can't truly choose to go. You're not acting, you're reacting. So ask yourself, what emotional state am I training over and over without even realizing it? If you're ready to stop managing symptoms and start training a steady, resilient inner state, I've built a system for that. It integrates perception, emotion, and nervous system. So you don't just understand your patterns, you actually shift them. The link's below. I also share practices weekly over on Instagram at Mike Wang Coaching. And if you want more depth, you can join the newsletter below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.